Good point, good
Yeah.
question.
Yes. RH is a bill on which each of us members of the House have taken a position in conscience based on our own um, judgment, including, without almost having to think about it, including whatever spiritual traditions we may have come from, religious traditions we may have come from, or none at all. And RH is simply a secular issue. It's a matter of public policy. The good bishops, and by the way, they haven't met as a conference, so they can't say they have an official united or majority statement on the bill. Um, they have the right to preach as they see fit. They're always quoting the magisterium, the teaching office of the church, which, by the way, as a lay, not a theologian, but as a lay person, I know includes not only the Pope, and by the way, papal infallibility is of fairly recent vintage, it's not from the time of St. Peter, includes the Pope and the bishops, but also the lay people, so church as people. So they have the right to teach, to preach, and we, those who believe that free will is a gift of God, and those of us who are products of Catholic education, one of whose objectives is the formation of conscience, after our conscience is formed, why should we be prevented from exercising that gift of God? So in the end, the bishops are free to preach, but I do not take well their bullying. And in the end, we just have to do our homework and have more votes than their allied representatives in the House to win the RH bill.
They may have the right to preach about the issues, but I studied recently the Constitution, and Prospero Nograles proposed a study related to this 2 years ago. And I found that they don't have the right to endorse or oppose politicians
Right.
because of their status as a religious organization.
Right.
If they do so, they continue to meddle in politics in this way, they stand to lose their tax-exempt status because of it.
Wow.
But the problem is, I don't know of any politician who would want to go against them because of fear of losing votes.
Ah.
So what do you think should
Well, on
be?
that particular issue of the tax exemption, I think Isabela, Congressman Albano, already made not so veiled threats about not the tax exemptions but the mass collections. He said that they should stop collecting mass collections and instead let these monies remain, especially with the poor, who make up a large number of, still faithful and struggling to be faithful Catholics. But so I mentioned earlier bullying. They threaten to withdraw support or to campaign against. They have campaigned against our party before because we support the RH bill, we support the anti-discrimination bill, and whatnot. But really, the Catholic vote is a myth, and that's one of the good things that has been happening with this RH debate. It's showing that Filipinos, for example, who participate in the surveys, and I would guess the majority of the respondents are Catholic, are saying that, okay, parenthesis, I'm Catholic, and I support the RH bill, and I think government should spend for family planning, and it's a political issue that politicians and parties should take a stand on. Local surveys also show, for example, that two among the most pro-RH provinces are, aside from Pampanga, very Catholic Bicol. Local surveys, district surveys show that even in the districts of the most passionately anti-RH congresspersons, for example, in Parañaque, Cebu, Manila, the support for RH among their constituents goes up to 80 to 90%. So the bishops may threaten, some bishops may try to scare, but we politicians should most take heed of our constituents. And so far the constituents are saying we want RH law.
Follow-up question in relation to that. Now, considering your stand on the bullying of the religious sector, now this is my question. Why affiliate with Noy Noy since the Aquinos are known to be prone to the bullying and the manipulation of the Catholic Church, especially Cory?
Ah, well, that's an interesting point because I heard, I cannot prove it, but I heard that during this current Congress, when we've been fighting to enact the RH bill, I heard that I'm willing to be corrected if I'm wrong, but there was one mass where the celebrant, the priest, was um, lambasting a local politician in that parish or diocese for supporting the RH bill. And I heard that Cory walked out. So my sense about her in the months before she died, she was not anti-RH. And during her administration, she never came out with pronouncements like GMA has, upholding only natural family planning. If I'm not mistaken, Cory, during her administration, spoke also about freedom of conscience. And that is the same position that Noy has been taking, even when we've been going out on visits to different regions, introducing ourselves, consulting what are the issues. We've always made it a point to pay courtesy calls on the local bishops. And even when they have questioned him about the RH bill, some more gently, some less so, he has stood firm that the keywords I hear from him are this is a matter of conscience. I believe that it's a matter of choice for the couples. The state may not dictate on the couple the number of children, the spacing of the years, the method of family planning. And we have a population problem. We've nearly doubled our population in the last 20 years. And if we don't do something about it, we will double it again, not in another 20, but in another 10 because of the geometric or the exponential growth. So, and so far he's kept his own counsel on this. And I believe that he will not back down on this issue, no matter what some of the good bishops may say. He has expressed willingness to dialogue with Cardinal Vidal, while at the same time reiterating that this is a matter of conscience.
What should Filipinos who want the CBCP to stop meddling in politics do about this thing? Because what if we can't expect any, especially since the elections are drawing near? It's very hard to find a politician or a party who will support the cause of secularism in our country. So what should be done?
Well, I think our kababayans, including the voters, should, if they are members of the Catholic Church, should support those bishops who are open-minded or even liberal, because there are some. There are some, few, but there are some who have been in dialogue, who have, while the official line is only natural family planning, but many bishops have not in their own dioceses actually been teaching the 6 or 7 methods of family planning. Some bishops have made their social action centers very active, teaching those 6 or 7 methods to couples in the dioceses. And some of these bishops have taken up the attitude of mutual respect for modern family planning advocates and practitioners in their dioceses, not harassing them like former Manila Mayor, now DNR Secretary Atienza did, not trying to make the local government withhold funds for both natural and modern methods and products, and the information, the education to reach the constituents. So that's one first thing that lay members of the Catholic Church to do is to show their moral, their civic, even as citizens, their political support for such bishops who haven't forgotten that aspect of their pastoral function. And then I really wish that citizens, including voters, who are under the bells of bishops, who are not respecting the secular nature of this issue, should also make their sentiments heard. I learned, for example, that in I don't know if there's only one diocese, but in a diocese in Bulacan, that the priests were preaching at that time against Noy because he was supportive of the RH bill. And I wish that the lay people who the priests serve or are supposed to serve would also tell them what they think about